Good morning, it's Saturday the 6th of April. Been raining most of this week, so in the workshop I've built 3 oak panels for the door frame. 2 to frame the door out and 1 larger piece which will go to the left hand side of this metal frame here. This is the original metal frame that was bolted in position roughly where it is now, a bit forward where it is now. I'm going to reuse this because it's a structural support. It will support the drawer cabinets, the fridge and the existing, if you look back at the previous video, the unit we're going to use as a larder. I've cut a hole in the side of it there. That's to make room for the heater pipe that will come through to the shower. The hole's about 2 inches harder than I'd like, but the cabinet that fits over the top of this would have been structurally weakened if I'd actually put the hole any lower. Not a big problem, I'll just box it in that little area there. It's only going to be about 6-inch run. So, I don't know when I'll actually upload this video to YouTube. There's a fair chunk of work in installing this door frame over a period of time. The wood's only just, the glue's only just really gone off and I've got to put the wood through the sander. I managed to break my planer. I've got a 10-inch thicknesser and I actually destroyed one of the rollers planing the oak boards down. They're recycled floorboards, they're quite hard, and I wondered why it wasn't planing properly, and then I noticed the roller had disintegrated. So I've had to order a new one, but I was only able to make the panels in 10-inch widths, and then I'll join them all together and the final finishing will have to be done with the sander. So what I've done with the drawer unit, it says spin around, that is now a lot shorter and 4 inches shallower than it originally was, and it now is 17 or thereabouts inches deep, exactly the same depth of this unit here, which is I haven't had to do anything with this unit at all. I just wanted this to match. There'll be a small shelf on the top of that, securely fitted into the side piece of wood that will actually screw in top to bottom on here to mount the fridge on. The fridge wiring, mains wiring, will drop out. There's a hole just behind that hole where a vent goes, and we'll actually have a switch on the wall here somewhere, because in theory if I put it roughly over here somewhere and that fridge is annoying, I can reach that with my toes at night and switch the damn thing off. I've also got 2 brand new main sockets there. These are, can't remember the makers now, but the original ones were really grubby and horrible and I couldn't clean them up. £7.50 each on eBay, bung them in. This may not be where they end up, but I'm making use of all this equipment as best I can. Good afternoon, time for a weekly update. We have a doorway. In fact, we have a few things now. A hole there for the heater supply through to the shower, among other things. The cabinet that we're going to use as a food locker is reinstated. The drawers have been cut down to size and reduced in depth as well, so they're now exactly the same depths as the food locker. The fridge is in place, although not fully secured yet. I'm actually going to add extra insulation around the fridge just to help with the efficiency, and I will be using a small fan to pull air out the back and into the void for the air conditioning unit. And we have a doorway, a completed doorway, other than fitting the door furniture and finishing the woodwork. The floor there is brand new oak flooring. I bought several boxes on eBay some months ago. It seemed logical to use that for the flooring. It's already finished. I've made it out the short sections that are in the boxes. The boxes contain various lengths of tongue groove flooring. I've used the shortest lengths and it made quite an attractive pattern. It's only sort of 2.5 foot. The floor itself is 36mm off the floor. It's as low as I could possibly get it, whilst creating a void for the cabling that's underneath it. And this entire floor is completely removable. I can pull the sections out to get to the cabling. The panel there that forms the side for the fridge and everything else is oak tongue and groove, different flooring. And again, and something else I got on eBay, but it's much older flooring. It was in a terrible state. I've run that through my surface planer and sander, and then laminated the panels together to make that fit. I've then reused some of the brackets that the original furniture was secured with at the top. I've created a crash pad there using some green vinyl and some various bits of foam and interfacing. That's really just a headbutt device so that I don't bang my head too much. The door frame is all made from the same oak, machined. I've cut and made my own architrave, and the door itself again is the better quality flooring. Oh, take the little plastic stop off. And I've used the full length stainless steel hinge that came off the cabinet behind me. Oh, I'm taking a bit of paper out. There's a bit of paper pack in there, spacing. It's very important I manage to be able to remove the floor. Now the perfectionists in you will notice that the timbers I've made the door with don't quite line up with the timber in the floor. Now I might just make the piece on the right a little bit wider and reduce these two pieces on the left here just to get everything lined up, but that's a job for another day. Right now you can see the difference in the woodwork. It's all white oak. The door is effectively finished material, and the better wood, sanded wood, I need to treat. I will be doing it with Osmocote. I'm doing some experiments at the moment on some scrap pieces to see how much Osmocote I need to use to get a similar colour. It may not be 100% close, but Osmocote is brilliant stuff. I can use it on work surfaces, kitchen worktops and so on and so forth. But that's a major part of the build in this van complete. Getting a doorway through to the cab, dealing with routing the cabling underneath this floor, dealing with the fact I needed to get the heater from, or the heater pipe work from the heater down there through to over there, so I can then present it to other parts of the van, and manufacturing or remanufacturing all the existing furniture so I can make use of it. This fridge is a mains fridge. It's an Inventor brand off of eBay. It's an A++ rated fridge. I expect to have similar energy usage out of the batteries as I would if I went out and spent hundreds and hundreds of pounds on a dedicated 12 volt compressor fridge. That's my expectation. Only time will tell. But now that I've got the doorway completed up to the point of finishing it, as I said, I won't be finishing this until all the other woodwork is done in here, because things are going to get marked and knocked and I can sand it back. And for example, the edge of this oak panel I've built here, I will actually put through my router and round it off. But right now there's a possibility I'll wallop it, so that's sacrificial wood on the edge there. I've already rounded off the piece that's in there. There's a little filler strip there, which I just used to take up the difference in space. This box has gone back in beautifully. Again, I've cut this down as well. This originally protruded to where you can see the line there in the floor with the original. I've pulled it back a good 8 inches, and that's adequate now. It gives us a superb storage cupboard underneath there, and I wouldn't be surprised one of the dogs ends up hiding in there from time to time. And we've now got plenty of space now to build a cooker in and still slide this large sliding unit out. But there you go, that's where we are today. Doorway completed, which was a point in time that I needed to get to so that I could then parallel what I'm doing in this van with what I will be doing over there in Thistle. And I haven't really done anything on Thistle for the past couple of weeks while I've been working on this one, but I will be putting the awning on Thistle and the solar panels, and I'm still hoping it's going to get warmer. It's still damn cold and too cold really to do much painting. In fact, it's really cold today, but I want to clean out the floor in Thistle, get the floor down, and then I'm into being able to build both vans virtually in parallel. So, next job in here is to build the bed frame. the bed frame is going to determine. I expect it to come out where that black mark is there, between the alcove and between the access panel. That's where I expect the bed to stop, or the width of the bed to stop. But I'm going to build the bed frame next, because that's going to determine how I then create other fixtures and fittings in this van. There's an example of the architrave I've made using, zoom in a bit, there you go, very simple to do. Table saw, just to put the chamfer on, planer to take all the lacquer and the scuff marks and everything else off. Then I've dimensioned the timber slightly, it's thinner than it originally was, got rid of the tongue groove on either side, reduced it in size. That's actually 65mm wide, that piece of architrave, and that's effectively what I've used up and down there. And just a few pins, in fact no pins in that top piece at all, 3 pins in this piece just to locate it while the glue's set. Hole there, the original hole. I will put something on this white plastic at some point in time to blank this off, but that's the original hole where the cabling used to go. And does that go all the way down far enough? Down to this, yeah. So I've got a slight overhang there again. I'll do a round over edge on that later on. When the van's complete, there will be a row of screws along here to hold all this in place. But right now, all the individual sections can be slid out. See what I mean about the gap? I haven't quite got it right. So I may end up just finessing that a little bit. But there's the door. I like oak, it's lovely wood, as long as it's not too dark. Again, I've made it up out of, in the kit or in the box of bits, there were these 2-foot-ish length pieces here. So I've ended up with effectively a square panel, which maybe will put a window in, I don't know. But I need to obtain, I've got a reasonably good clearance there and a shadow line on the actual frame part. But with a bit of luck I can get some attractive door furniture for this. We want to be able to lock this door when we're sleeping in here. That's the intention, so I'll probably end up with a couple of bolts, top and bottom, stop the thing rattling, and maybe a rim latch of some kind on there. But oak's lovely stuff to work with, and as long as you don't go mad. There is some extra weight here, but it's not a massive amount. And then the vinyl I've used for the pressure pad, headbutt pad, or what you want to call it, it's close to the colour of the green on the original trim there. There's a bit more blue in this trim, but that'll do. We may actually mount something on. Oh, focus, there it goes. I'm quite pleased with that. It's a door, and it does the job which I needed to do, which is segregate the cab, which will be a very, very hot area in the summer. You know, segregate the cab from this van, and that panel there is just lots and lots of strips of the flooring, and I can take that off. It's only held on by 4 screws at the moment, a couple of brackets. I will take that off. 120 grit. One of the advantages with the Osmocoat is you don't have to go mad with the sanding. You put it on with scouring pads are probably the best thing to use it, because they actually denib the wood at the same time. But I've not used it in anger on oak before. I've used it on other materials, and I will use a few practice pieces. But there we go. Like I said, you know, I say basic tools. They're not, my tools are not fancy. They're not expensive. Contractors' saws, that sort of thing. It's enough to be able to manufacture timber profiles to be able to do what you need when you need to do it. One of the interesting things about this particular piece of flooring I've used is, for some reason, the back of the tongue groove flooring had been finished as well. Now I have actually got some grey 4-way stretch carpet material which I had intended to put on the back of this, but I'm inclined to leave it. It ain't a bad finish. I mean, it's a bit rough, but it has been treated. I don't know what they've treated it with. I may well leave that for a time being. I've actually left where I've put the door stops on. Again, I've made doorstop material as well. That's just a bit of 30mm by 10mm strip, again cut from one of the oak planks. But I've left enough gap so that I can I've got a 3mm gap all the way around, which will allow me to put some trim on the back of this if I want to. But right now, there's no rush to do that. I quite like that. It's an interesting feature. It does mean that you lose any sort of stealth element, but then I'm sitting in a dirty great big ambulance. It's pretty obvious what it is anyway. It's either an ambulance or a camper van. If I was in the crafter, then maybe we'd want to make this door look a little bit more discreet, but we're going to have the crafter's going to be completely open. But there's the end result. That's what you can do with a few bits of recycled panelling. Thanks for watching.